In just moments, we're going to get the first results in California's 2024 primary election. I'll tell you why the initial results may not predict who the ultimate winners are, what to watch for, and there are 5 races that I'm watching carefully, and you should too. That's all coming up. How to make sense of the early results in California's March 2024 primary. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and here we are. The California March 2024 primary is wrapping up, and at 8:05 p.m., we will get the initial results. I want to tell you what those results actually reflect in terms of total percentage of vote in the election that we expect. Things are not what they appear on the initial results, and I'll tell you why. Plus, I want to go through a few races that we're watching, including, obviously, my own race for California State Assembly. But first, let me just walk through what turnout looks like in this March election. Here is the tracker. It is from a company called PDI, which actually has pretty good data. Sadly, they only work with Democrats, which is a problem for Republicans in California. Their data systems are still not what they should be. But here is the ballots returned and counted in California as of midnight last night. That would be midnight, March 4th. And this reflects all the reports from all the counties. And we've got a total of 22 million people registered to vote in California. That's this number here. 22 million are registered to vote. And that means that 22 million ballots were mailed out. I mean, a lot of those people don't even live here anymore. A lot of those people are dead, whatnot. But 3.164 million ballots have been returned. That is a turnout, a very paltry turnout. And it would suggest that we are on track for a turnout very similar to what was in 2022, not the 2020 election, which was much higher. But right now, you've got Democrats making up 50% of the votes returned, even though they're only 47% of registered voters. Republicans are 32% of ballots returned, even though they're only 24% of registered voters. So Democrats are outperforming their party registration by 3 percentage points. But Republicans are outperforming by 8 percentage points. That would suggest that there's more enthusiasm on the Republican side in this primary election. It also suggests that Republicans may be breaking their naughty habit of waiting until Election Day to return their ballots. I think some of these Republicans are following President Trump's advice, and obviously the advice we're giving at Reform California, to return your ballot early. But let me give you the turnout right now in California. If there are 3.165 million ballots returned, and there are 22 million ballots that were issued, the turnout right now is a paltry 14.36%. Now, I expect that total turnout in the California primary statewide will probably be similar again to what we saw in 2022's primary. And that means that we'll get closer to the 35% figure. Not exciting turnout, but I think it gives Republicans a slight edge in lower turnout elections. As you can see here, Republicans are outperforming by 8%. So at 8:05 p.m., the initial results you see in each of the counties and statewide will be basically this 3 million number. There will be millions of ballots, probably 3 to 5 million additional ballots, uncounted at 8:05 p.m. You'll get a little bit of additional updates in your county and statewide at about 10 o'clock at night, maybe 11 o'clock at night, maybe midnight. That's the ballots that are counted not in this initial tranche, which are all the mail-in ballots, as I mentioned, counted as of midnight last night. The ballots that are updated at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock or midnight, that you see the news media reporting on, like, new returns are coming in. Those will be day of votes. People who walk their ballot in and vote in person in the polling station, not turn in a ballot that's a mail-in ballot, but rather surrender their mail-in envelope and actually say, I want to vote day of. Those results you'll start seeing at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or midnight. You will see some shifts perhaps in results. Not only will the numbers go up, but if you start seeing narrowing of gaps between candidates, I call that the trend. The trend is our friend. And sometimes if you're losing an election, the trend is not your friend. But the trend is your friend in terms of predicting where the race probably ends up. Now, I know a lot of people will say, but Carl, why is it that these numbers shift automatically days after the election? Well, what happens is at 8:05, you see the 3 million ballots that were already processed. Those numbers pop up at 8:05. Then you get a very small sliver of results from the people who walked in their ballot today. That'll be about 3 or 4% of the total votes. Only 10% of Californians actually vote at a polling center. And so it'll be a very small batch of votes that are updated today into the evening. Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and in each county, all of the late arriving mail-in ballots will be slowly processed. And yes, it could take a full month. It could take a month to count an additional, as we expect, at least 3 million ballots, if not 4 million or 5 million ballots that are coming in late in the process. That is why some races are not decided until, 30 days after the election. Do I like this process? Hells no. I want you to get your ballot in early. And here's why. If you get your ballot in early, you get to track your ballot. Here's a website we use called trackmyballot.org. And it will tell you whether you have your ballot already in the results that you're seeing at 8:05 p.m. If you just voted by mail in the last 48 hours, you're not going to get your ballot processed for another couple of weeks. That's the problem. Plus, if there's any problem with your ballot, you can't fix it after the election. Like, the ballot gets lost or your signature doesn't match. There's a process for matching signatures, but it's a little bit of a risk and you have to monitor. So if you want to check to see if you are counted in the 8:05 results tonight, then you go to this website, trackmyballot.org, click under Track My Ballot, and here's the website. It goes right to the Secretary of State's office, which has access to all of the voting databases in each of the counties. You put in your first name, your last name, your date of birth, your zip code. You confirm that you're not a robot. You should probably confirm that you're not dead, the Democrat voters, and then you basically submit and you find out whether your ballot has been counted or not. So track my ballot. If your ballot does not show counted tonight, I would like you to continue to check the website for the next few weeks. If it doesn't show that it's counted within the next 2 weeks, then before the results are certified in 30 days after the election, please contact your registrar of voters office and ask them, why was my ballot not counted? Was my signature rejected? Because there is a process for you to cure a mismatched signature. And we'll talk about that for the races that are on the razor's edge, that are so close that a few votes might decide the race. At Reform California, we actually go and launch ballot curing campaigns in the next 30 days to make sure that every vote that was rejected can be counted so that it is seen in the results of the election. So trackmyballot.org is where you can go to verify that your ballot was actually counted as part of the results tonight. Or if you were returned your ballot late, don't worry about that. You should not have returned it late, but you're likely going to be counted in the coming days and weeks. So keep going to that website, trackmyballot.org, to get updates and to verify that your ballot indeed was counted. Okay, tonight, if you would like to look at the results, go to your local county registrar of voters website. So, for example, in San Diego, it's sdvote.com, where I live. Tonight, there will be a link that pops up around here. They usually put it at their homepage that gives you election results. Let's see if they've got any. Nope, they don't have any link right now to their election results. And a lot of us political types will sit there and we'll hit refresh at 8:05. So that's where your results will get posted on your local county races. And that's where the media gets their information. But if you want to track statewide races. Suppose that you're in a congressional district or an assembly district that crosses county lines. Recognize that if you're just looking at your county's results, that's not actually the result of the election, because you have to add in the results of other counties. So if you're looking at a race that crosses a county, like the U.S. Senate race or a congressional district that has multiple counties, go to the Secretary of State's website, sos.ca.gov, click under elections. There you go. And there will be an election results page there. In fact, ooh, look at this. They already have their page active. So this is the page you'll go to, electionresults.sos.ca.gov. So you'll click under that for presidential results by each of the counties. And then, of course, the U.S. Senate race, Proposition 1. And then you can go all the way down, all the other contests throughout the state. Let's peek in. Let's see if they made a mistake, and suddenly let me check on my race. Did they make a mistake? Are the results up yet? Nope, no results up yet. I will be on this page tonight checking, but there's a couple other races I'm going to be checking tonight. So let me give you the 5 races we're going to be looking at. First, my own. I'm up against the Sacramento Swamp. The Democrats and the special interest and a lot of the establishment Republicans who have failed miserably, and I've called them out for their failures. They are all ganging up on us at Reform California. They are colluding. Yes, Republican operatives and active establishment types working hand in glove with Democrats. Well, now the secret's out and open. They've been doing it for many years. That's why we don't have a state that actually is balanced. They've spent $1.4 million against me, sending out deceptive mailers, lies, smears. But I think the voters are standing with us, and it will send just a stunning rebuke to the Sacramento Swamp when we win this seat and lock it down in the primary. I do believe that this seat will be ours come November, and Reform California will be able to give millions of Californians a voice inside the state legislature who are terribly concerned about the direction of our state and want a more aggressive fight to be waged to try to take back our state. And so I'll be watching those results tonight, because this is a historic amount of money that's spent on a safe Republican seat, a so-called safe Republican seat. And Republican elected officials have now colluded with Democrats to spend money against Reform California. We know who they are. They will be held accountable for their negligence and malpractice. It's a dereliction of duty. I'm looking at you, Brian Jones. That's right. Worse than Mitch McConnell is our state senator, Brian Jones, who's supposed to be the Republican Senate leader. But instead of raising money for target seats and focusing on his job to help elect Republicans to the state Senate, he spent all this time and money trying to monkey up and mess around with a safe Republican assembly district. Shame on him. He needs to be removed. And so we're watching that result. The second race we're watching is the U.S. Senate results. That's where Adam Schiff, Pencil Neck Schiff, who's just a completely dishonest liar, absolutely ethically unfit for office. And that's saying a lot given the competition in government. He is trying to fend off a challenge from another Looney Tune, Katie Porter. And then there's Steve Garvey on the Republican side, who has surged into first place, according to some polls, or maybe second place. But I think he will make it in the runoff. I'm excited about that, because this is the first U.S. Senate race since we adopted Prop 14, which is the top 2 jungle primary, which is a complete mess and should be eliminated. This will be the first time that we actually get a U.S. Senate Republican candidate in the runoff into one of those races. That's pretty important for us to get to. Okay, we've got that race that we're watching. So that was the second race I'm going to be looking at tonight. The third race, there are 2 races that are possibly Republican runoffs. And that is in a congressional seat in Central Valley, David Valadao. And this is a target seat. Democrats are trying to flip this seat. David Valadao has always won by just a whisker. And he right now is neck and neck with another Republican running for the seat. Let me see if they've got the names here. There we are. There's David Valadao and a guy named Chris Matthews. The 2 of them might actually be the 2 in the runoff. which means Democrats would not be able to capture this seat at all. Right now, Rudy Salas is the favorite amongst Democrats to make it in the runoff. They're trying to push down Melissa Hurtado. So it either will be Valadao and Salas or Valadao and Chris Mathies, and that would mean that the Democrats were shut out. Another, and by the way, when this happens, if it happens, when Democrats get penalized by the Prop 14 system, because right now it's only penalized Republicans, shutting us out of races. But my prediction is when Democrats get penalized by their own scam of Prop 14, the top two, regardless of party, if they lose seats because of this, you know damn well real quick they're going to repeal it. And so I can't wait for the Democrats to get punished by their own sinister little plot. Another seat where this is happening is the 36th Assembly seat. My good friend Jeff Gonzalez is running. He's a Republican. There's only one other Republican running, Kalen Morse. Some of the polls suggest that Jeff and Kalen could actually make the runoff and cut out the favored Democrat, Joey Acuna, because look at all the other Democrats running there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 other Democrats. So a total of 5 Democrats splitting that vote and only 2 Republicans. Could be pretty interesting. I still think Jeff Gonzalez is going to win this seat if he goes up against any Democrat in the November election. It's going to be a tough race, but at Reform California, he's one of our most promising candidates that we've endorsed, and we look forward to going to the mat for him in that seat. Another race that we're looking at, and that is the Los Angeles District Attorney's race. George Gascon is a George Soros, far left-wing, coddle the criminal district attorney who has contributed to that city's mega crime wave. He needs to be booted out of office for the bloodshed that he is responsible for, and of course all the property crimes as well. Now, the polling suggests that he may or may not make it out of the runoff, but there are 2 candidates who are neck and neck for second place. One of the guys is Jonathan Hatami. He's a prosecutor, child abuse prosecutor that worked under Gascon. And then there is Nathan Hochman. He ran for Republican candidacy for California Attorney General in 2022. I think those are the top 2 to be likely to go into the runoff, either with Gascon or the 2 of them would go to the runoff. So we'll see where that lands. It would be quite remarkable if Gascon gets shut out of the runoff. It would be a stunning rebuke. He's very low in the polls. Maybe he's not low enough because a lot of voters are low information. They just vote for the incumbent. Why would you do that with the crime wave? I mean, wake up, crawl out from underneath that rock. But that's one of the races I'm watching tonight. So those are the 5 races we're looking at tonight. Again, results will shift over the coming days. There are some races that won't be decided for days or weeks. That is not unusual given the fact that we have all these mail-in ballots that we've got to get through. Again, I want to go back to a day of election. I also want you, as long as we have mail-in elections, to vote early. Let's bank the vote early. Don't be surprised if those results take a little bit of time to come in. But 8:05 p.m., those are the initial results from these ballots here, the 3 million that were tracked by PDI as of midnight last night, and then expect another 3 million to 5 million ballots to come in through the mail-in process and take weeks to count. All right. In closing, please keep up to date with everything that we're doing at Reform California by going to our website, reformcalifornia.org. Go ahead and toss in a contribution because we have to recharge our batteries after all the battles that we just fought in the primary, and we have to get ready for saving Prop 13 in the general election, as well as helping our other candidates that we've endorsed get across the finish line by flipping seats across California. So please help us recharge our batteries. We've left it all on the field. Go to reformcalifornia.org and chip in a contribution there. Until next time, and we will have winners and losers in an analysis podcast tomorrow, the initial winners and losers. Till next time, Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.